Hey everybody, and welcome to the Red Talks Gamecast. I'm your host Riley, and I'm here with Julius Pavlos III and Brendan Brothers, and today we're going to be talking about E3 2019. So, let's get started with, I guess, EA. Brendan, you watched it. You said it wasn't really a conference.
Yeah, they just kind of had like a little stage thing, and they talked about a couple of games, like their games as service games, Apex.
Okay.
And they talked about Anthem a little bit, but I think the main thing that I was interested in was Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. They showed gameplay of it, and it looks pretty good. Honestly, it looks kind of like the. I don't think it looks as like the combat looks as fluid as something like Force Unleashed.
Yeah.
But they were.
I don't really think Jedi Fallen Order is supposed to be like Force Unleashed. It reminded me a lot of the new God of War with the combat and explorations and elements of Shadow of the Colossus too.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. I think the game is going to end up being a lot better than it looks, because they kept going on about this how they made like the combat really thoughtful. I think that's a good comparison to God of War. And one thing that not a lot of people are talking about, and some journalists on Twitter were talking about this, is that the game is actually like a Metroidvania, and they did nothing in the presentation to say anything about that. It's like kind of open world, and you can return to levels with new abilities, and kind of like big maze-like, open like maze-like levels. And I'm like, wow, that sounds amazing. I have no idea why they didn't say any of that stuff during the presentation, but
now that you say that it's like that, I'm kind of afraid that maybe when it does come out, and if they don't show that off in any more presentations, people will get mad because they were expecting one thing and got another.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I'm really, really excited for it. I wasn't really too excited after I saw the presentation, but people talking about, like, people that have played it, they got to play it behind closed doors, are saying it's like it's solid. So
at this point, I'm more intrigued than excited, because before the presentation, I honestly did not care, because, I mean, it's a stereotypical MLG pro meme thing to hate on EA nowadays, but their practices and games are just genuinely terrible and at best mediocre. So I'm intrigued, but I'm also afraid.
They need a win, and I think they know that.
Yeah.
And I think they know that, like, they have a lot, like, not only the big gaming community, but people who aren't huge gamers, but they're definitely going to pick up Star Wars. Like, they have a lot of people, like, counting on them to make this a good game, and they need it to be good for them as well.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the developers of Fallen Order said that there would be no, like, DLC, or at least there would only be free DLC, and there's no in-game, like,
there's
purchases, no loot boxes or anything. They made kind of a big deal about that. And of course EA, they've done stuff like that before, so we just have to keep our eyes open.
I'm going to keep an eye on and wait until the game is actually here to believe that, because they have not done a lot to earn my trust recently.
Yeah.
Okay, another thing about this game, and we can kind of use it to segue into the Xbox conference. So Forrest Whitaker is in Force Awakens, or not Force Awakens. That's
right.
The Order. Jedi Fallen Order. Okay.
Yeah.
So much Star Wars stuff rolling around in my head.
Rogue One and the cartoon.
Yeah. So Forrest Whitaker's in the new game, and then the kid that played the Joker in Gotham.
Yeah, he's the main character.
He's the main character.
I think he looks really, really good.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And we saw and then at Xbox we saw Fallen Order. We saw some more gameplay from that. We also saw Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
And we also saw John Bernthal. at Ubisoft's conference.
Yeah.
So is this just like a growing trend of like, let's bring like famous people into our video games?
Yeah, I think it's really cool, honestly.
More mainstream.
What'd you say,
Just
Julius?
People are gonna look more at your stuff if you have like that guy you love from that show, or the dude from that movie you really liked. Like, oh, look at this cool new game. We got Keanu Reeves. He was in John Wick and The Matrix.
I think it. A lot of people might like kind of dismiss this, like, oh, it's just like a cheap tactic to get people to play more video games, but I think it adds like a lot of legitimacy to video games, like as art and stuff, and it's really exciting.
Yeah.
Like video games get bigger. They talk about this in the Microsoft conference a lot, about how video games are like bigger now than they've ever been, and they're only continuing to get bigger, like as a legitimate like form of media that everyone enjoys.
It's already out of all entertainment, it already rakes in more
money.
profit than
more than movies, more than music.
yeah.
At least I think more. I'm not sure about the music, but I am pretty sure it breaks in more than film.
Yeah.
So Microsoft, like as a whole, I think Microsoft had a really solid conference last year, and they had probably, in my opinion, the best conference this year.
Which isn't saying much.
Yeah.
It isn't really saying much. I can't tell if like maybe it's just me getting older, but every year it seems like E3 gets less and less exciting. Which I think,
I have a feeling that the reason it's getting that way is because now Nintendo kind of seemingly started this trend with like having a pre-made video just showing off their games, and now it seems like everybody else is trying to do that.
Honestly,
Nintendo
like
did it this year. EA did it Nintendo did it again this year. EA did it this year, and it's been, from what I've seen, it does seem like the need for a giant press conference that people have to go to is something that's needed less and less every year.
Yeah, I mean,
that saddens me though.
It is pretty sad, but I think having like announcements throughout the year, like PlayStation, they weren't at E3, but they've been doing these like little. I mean, they're literally like PlayStation Directs.
Yeah, or even just in interviews, they're planting nuggets of stuff about their new console.
Yeah, so I kind of like the kind of surprise of like never knowing when the next announcement's around the corner. Although, if E3 does like go the way of the dinosaur, I will be disappointed because I love E3 every year.
Yeah, I think like we've seen it in the past. It happens like before almost every new start of a console generation. How like that year before is just kind of like okay. And I think one of the things that really took away from this year's E3 is that we knew of most of the games that we saw, and we didn't see anything crazy. Like, I'm a huge Halo fan, but like that Halo trailer,
they showed no gameplay.
I mean, it was in-engine, but like that Halo trailer did nothing,
which is insane.
Very big trend amongst E3.
Yeah, this E3, I thought that
no gameplay.
Yeah, I thought that like we were kind of over that, like showing no gameplay, but it seems to be back like this year, and I don't like that at all. Like, there are a lot of games that I'm excited for, but a lot of games that I'm interested in, but I can't be too excited for because there's no gameplay.
Yeah.
Like Avengers, I'm like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see, and it's like no gameplay. It's like, what? Okay, that's fine.
We'll get to the Avengers.
I find it ironic that
Yeah, like Halo. It's like, I like Halo. I might be interested in picking up an Xbox for the new Halo. I mean, probably not, but I mean, they did nothing to to win me over.
And now that you mention it, I just noticed this. Funnily enough, on my personal list that I have on my phone of all the games that really stood out to me, one thing that most of them have in common is most of them have gameplay trailers.
Exactly.
Gameplay attached to their reveals.
Like, a lot of the indie titles, like, I'm not a huge indie gamer. I know Brennan knows that.
Yeah.
But, like, that was like Xbox's best part of their show is, like, all of the indie stuff that they're working on.
I
like,
agree. They showed, what was it, like over 60 games at this
yeah,
conference?
Spiritfarer. Do y'all remember that one?
Yeah, I remember, like, there's really just too many games to honestly even talk
12
about.
minutes, that one stood out to me.
That
it was
looks
like the
amazing. Blair Witch.
So cool.
Way to the Woods.
Yeah. I mean, Ori and the Will of the Wisps is going to be maybe one of the best platformers ever made. Like,
Yeah.
that game looks so beautiful.
Dude, Blair Witch looks great, but I cannot do scary games.
Did any of you guys think that was going to be Outlast 3 when they first started showing it?
I thought it was Outlast. I thought it was another Outlast as well.
Because they showed, like, the camera and everything, and I'm like, oh, this is Outlast 3. I'm like, Blair Witch! Because, like, okay.
You're running away from stuff.
Yeah. I am a huge Blair Witch fan, so I'm really excited for that. But I can only play horror games with other people in the room, so...
So we also
something
else on no Half-Life 3 in this E3.
Oh my god.
Rest in peace.
Dude, that's game's never gonna happen.
It is. It actually is never gonna happen. I'm pretty sure it's been like officially canceled.
Honestly, I believe that it's going to happen eventually more than that it won't happen, if that makes sense.
Honestly, I'd rather just have Valve like make a new game, like any new game that's not like an original new game, because I feel like if they tried to make Half-Life 3 now, like they're so out of practice making video games, I don't even know if it would be good, to be honest.
At this point, I just want the thing to come out so everybody can get some closure on it.
Well, one of the voice actors released like the whole storyboard.
No, it was the
Reddit.
I'm pretty sure it was the writer.
The writer?
Like the writer of Half-Life 2 who was writing the story for Half-Life 3. He was just like, this game is never going to happen, so here's the story.
Yeah, I can't believe Valve is not interested in doing that.
No, you're wrong. It wasn't Half-Life 3. It wasn't the story of Gordon Freeman. It was the story of Gondo 4 guy.
What?
Did they change the names so he would avoid like copyright issues?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm looking through all these games that they announced at the Microsoft conference, and all of the big ones like just don't even have like gameplay.
Okay, except for Outer Worlds, which it wasn't announced, but that game looks. I love the way that game looks.
All right, so
that game looks really.
It looks good. I thought that the visuals looked really janky. I'm sure the game still looks really fun. I mean, like one of my favorite games ever. That for some reason I can't remember. Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah,
they made Fallout New Vegas, and I love Fallout New Vegas. And it looks like they brought Bethesda jank with them to this game.
No, they definitely did. I mean, like...
but honestly, I'm interested in checking it out.
Also, like, Borderlands, that is a cult classic, and it looks ugly.
Yeah.
Like...
It looks really cool, but at the same time, Gearbox has been involved in quite a lot of tomfoolery the past few years, so
that is true.
I'm cautiously optimistic about that one.
I read like the whole Game Informer like spotlight on Outer Worlds, and I was just like, I'm so into this game. It's gonna be like Fallout in space.
Yeah,
and I mean, I'm here.
Good Fallout in space.
Yeah, good Fallout in space. Hopefully not 76 in space.
On it, but I actually really like Fallout 4.
Fallout 4 was fun. I didn't like it as much as 3.
Definitely not. Yeah. But I still enjoyed Fallout 4. Yeah.
So we have to talk about these two things if we're talking Microsoft. Game Pass Ultimate and the Scarlet.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so Game Pass Ultimate is like amazing.
I'm actually really surprised with how they really want to push that one forward, and I am surprised by like how worthwhile it seems.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a lot of great quality toward it, and it's only like
right now it's like $1 a month or some crazy shit like that.
Yeah, I think
that's not a price that will last, but $1 for a month, I would definitely.
Yeah, dude.
In fact,
I mean,
if I have the next paycheck, I'm definitely picking that up.
Dude, if I had an Xbox, why not? Honestly, like, if you buy like a new game like every month, right? That's $60.
That's a lot.
That's like 4 or 5 times more expensive than Game Pass, and then you can play as many games as you want.
Yeah.
The only issue is that you don't own those games. So.
What'd you say, Julius?
What kind of has me worried about it is, I mean, it's only like a small worry, but gatekeeping of shovelware, because, for example, Nintendo has been pushing support for indie games for a long while now, and their eShop is filled with a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, Nintendo is they're
That's
a
like the
huge
indie
bastion
hub.
for shovelware. Like the Wii era is like I've never seen so much like terrible like indie shovelware. Like,
Dude, there's a lot on Switch though too.
Yeah,
like
there's
they
tons.
get. I mean, there's new games almost every effing
It's
day.
like almost it's like almost Steam levels of like
Dude, yeah.
terrible shovelware.
minus the Steam deals.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's up?
While I'm not expecting it to be nothing but absolute garbage, it does have me kind of concerned.
Well, they seem
The
to be
ratio of garbage to quality.
supporting it like incredibly well.
Yeah, I mean, the my biggest thing is that like one of their flagship titles, at least a few months ago for the streaming service or Game Pass, was Crackdown
Sea of
3
Thieves.
and Sea of
Oh,
Thieves.
yeah.
Both games that like. I mean, Sea of Thieves was definitely better, and I think they're still supporting it.
Mm-hmm.
But like Crackdown was garbage. I don't know anyone that played that game.
Man. I remember seeing this video by a guy called, I think it's pronounced Crowcat, CRO.
Oh yeah, I love that guy. I watch all of his videos.
Check out his channel.
He does all
He's a
the
really-
the tech
he makes a lot of funny
comparison.
gaming stuff. And he made like this comparison of Crackdown 2 versus Crackdown 3. And like all this stuff that was in Crackdown 2 that is just not there in Crackdown 3. Like minuscule stuff like impact craters, civilian reactions to you just running around like a maniac. In Crackdown 2, they'd like go, and run away. Whereas in Crackdown 3, they don't. And
What a failure!
your car, and like anytime you would punch a car in the second one, it would crumple up and destroy and get destroyed. Whereas in Crackdown 3, it just stays like that.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think those are. I don't think that's exactly what happened, but those are examples.
Yeah, they really dropped the ball. So, anyways, I think the other thing is Xbox Scarlet, right?
Yeah, they just released like
Yeah.
I don't even know what they released honestly.
They like barely talked about it. They were just like the new next gen console is coming, and it has 8K support, and it has an SSD, which actually is awesome.
Yeah.
Or wait,
That
it
does
has
sound
an SSD, right? Or am I thinking of PS5? Or
No, I
both?
think I wouldn't be surprised if it's both, but I'm pretty sure Microsoft did say something about that.
Yeah. I think that's the big thing with the next gen like big consoles like Sony and Microsoft. They have these SSDs to reduce load times like insane amounts.
Right.
And I love that because I don't like loading.
One thing
That's all I have to say about that.
One thing I wanted to see that we didn't see, like on the, like during the conference, it was on the show floor, so you know, like people have covered it, but xCloud, Project xCloud,
Yeah.
it's like their
Oh,
streaming
yeah.
service.
These
Talk
cloud
about that.
gaming services, I honestly don't know what to think about them because, like, I feel like if they work and if they're good, it's just like, this is it. Like, this is where gaming is going. Like, everything will just be streamed, and you'll just pay whatever a month, and you can play whatever games you want.
I'm into
But
it.
I'm really worried because, like, I have not yet seen a demo or like somebody play a demo where there hasn't been lag.
Dude, they were playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey in Japan. They opened it up, and that game played amazingly being streamed on a Switch.
Well, yeah,
Odyssey.
but I, from everything I've heard is that there's still lag. Like, I'm sure for something like Assassin's Creed, like it's fine. 'Cause
You don't
that
wanna
game-
play,
that
like,
game
Call
is
of
not like
Duty.
super. Yeah, but like they
Yeah.
showed at the Bethesda conference, they showed playing Doom on whatever on Stadia, I think it was, and I think people broke it down, like looking at the button presses and stuff, and there's still like tons of lag. And for a first-person shooter like Doom, like you need like no lag. And it seems like even with like, I mean, we'll get to Bethesda, but even with their new like
Oh, boy.
quote
Their
unquote
new-
like top dollar like
Orion or
Orion
something?
like
Yeah.
software, they still can't get lagless even for a demo in front of like thousands of people. So I think the technology
It's got
has got a ways to go still.
but
Yeah, for
Good.
like, but if it's for stuff that isn't online, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, or I think I heard somewhere they did something similar with that for the Switch for Resident Evil 7.
They did, yeah. They did streaming for RE7, and it was decent.
Yeah, from what I've heard on games that don't require online services, it works fine. But for online multiplayer games like Doom, or I would assume possibly in the future something like Overwatch or Counter-Strike, it would need some more time to work out its kinks.
I think I think I'm heavily considering getting the Google Stadia Founders Edition, and I'm not gonna play Rage 2 until I get it, and I'm probably gonna play Destiny 2 on it, and it's got Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and if it sucks, it sucks. Like, I have a good internet to test it out at my house because I get like 14 megabytes per second or whatever, and their minimum is 10. So if I can make it work on that at 720p, and then take my iPad and the controller up to my office on campus and get like 20 Mbps, I'm sure I'm sure it's not gonna have lag, but there's a really good chance for it too. I just don't see them like releasing something that like doesn't play smoothly.
Yeah.
I ain't arguing with that spot for you, man. You can wear that crown all you want.
Yeah, I'm just like, when Stadia was first announced, I was all in on it. I'm like, this is amazing. This is like the future of gaming. But it really seems like nobody wants to play it.
Most consumers are not into it.
Nobody. It really seems like everybody is like
with motion controls or VR. It's just like this temporary.
Well, it just seems like everyone's like against it. Like,
it shocks me how much like I follow IGN a lot, and I listen to their podcast, and they have not said anything positive about Stadia, and it just blows my mind. Like, I think that people should be slightly a little more open.
I agree with that, but like, if this is how people think, and like knowing how quickly Google drops like projects that they're working on, I don't know if I want to like invest in this if nobody's going to use it, and then Google's just going to drop it like they did with like all their other shit that they've dropped.
Well, and I think like I think Microsoft and Sony are trying to box them out because they partnered together saying that they're going to aim for making video game streaming like as good as it can be. Yeah. And so to me that's like they do not want Google competing against them.
Unfortunately, I agree.
Yeah,
and
they
like,
already have Nintendo and Google and each other to compete against. They don't need someone else.
Yeah, and I love Google. Like, I'm looking at my Google Pixel 3 right now on this desk. So I'm pretty much the biggest Google fanboy there is. But like, if I know how Google is, and if it's not successful, they're gonna drop it hard. So if there's a streaming system or a cloud service that I'm going to get into, it's probably going to be this Azure that hasn't really been talked about, like the Sony Microsoft thing.
Is that what it is, Azure?
I'm not sure if that's the service or if that's like a software integration thing for games or not, but it has I know they're cooperating on streaming.
xCloud seems ideal because I already have an Xbox.
Yeah.
It releases before Stadia, and they were saying that your Xbox works as like your server for your xCloud games. So I'm curious like how that works. Does your Xbox have to be on all the time? Surely not. Like, there's no way they could just be like, yeah, go ahead and leave your house and go on like a vacation and take your xCloud with you and just leave your Xbox on the whole time. Like, I don't see that being the case. So who knows?
Well, okay.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I guess we should probably move on to Bethesda.
Yeah,
which is probably my vote for most. What's up?
Yes, we're not even going to talk about Cyberpunk.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah, we should probably talk about Cyberpunk a little bit.
Okay, I mean, who doesn't love Keanu Reeves?
Yeah. We got no more gameplay, but there is quite a bit of gameplay already out there, so it's not like you don't know what the game looks like at this point.
I gotta be completely honest, I was entirely apathetic to Cyberpunk 2077 until I saw that trailer with Keanu Reeves, and I was just like, done, I'm sold.
That's crazy.
I don't care what the game is, I want it.
Well, then it worked. The marketing worked on you, Julius. The marketing worked.
Yeah.
I've been into...
I drank the Kool-Aid. I've been on the fish hook. Take me away, CD Projekt Red.
Dude, I've been ready for
now
this game.
yours.
Like, I love, I'm such a futurist, man, and so, like,
The game also does look pretty interesting.
it looks so good. Like, it's tabletop RPG coming to a real game. I love that it's in first person. I'm actually glad that it's not in third person. I do wish that it had like the Skyrim Fallout kind of thing where you could switch between. So like, because I just go third person, look at what I'm wearing, be like, that's so badass, and then click back to first person and go kill some things. So like, that's all I need the third person for in that game.
Just admire how cool you look.
Yeah, but I'm sure I can do that in the screen and in cutscenes. So I'm super excited for that game. I think it's gonna get like 100 hours from me, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really. I'm definitely interested. I love the world. I mean, I'm a huge like fan of the cyberpunk aesthetic. So I mean, the game is going to be pretty much a day one buy for me. But I don't know. I have this like weird like thing in the back of my head, like nagging that I'm gonna play it for a few hours and then get bored. I don't know why I'm thinking that. But I've been playing so many like open world games lately where I just play for a little bit and then I don't feel like playing anymore.
They're almost too much to them.
Yeah, there's.
I haven't.
You have to go like 50 miles just to find that one piece of the scrap heap that will let you upgrade your gun slightly better.
Yeah, it's
and
like
the next piece is like all this way away, and it's like.
Yeah, I didn't finish Odyssey, and I love the Assassin's Creed franchise, but I didn't finish Odyssey or Origins. They're just like too big. There's too much to do, and it's like, I don't know.
It's like I barely. My big one was Red Dead 2.
I heard that game was just
the game is amazing. All right, it looks incredible. It's super realistic, but it's just so boring. You just don't really do anything in that game.
Man, I haven't picked it up, and that is disappointing.
But I mean, for people that enjoy like being immersed in playing games for like a long time, it's great. I'm not saying it's a bad game. In fact, it's a pretty amazing game. But games like that can't hold my attention for that long. I need something like Doom that's just like 8 or less hours of like high octane, just like blowing like crap up left and right. Tight level design, tight story, and then it's over and done like a movie. That's what I like. As I've kind of played more and more games, I appreciate
more contained,
a concise experience. More than something that drags on.
See, that's another reason I'm excited for Outer Worlds, is because it is going to be that open world that you love. It's going to be a cool setting. There's a lot of like cool looking weapons in that game and character design, but it's not going to be like a 70-hour game.
Yeah.
And so,
for me, the perfect example of like an open world, an open gigantic world that's fun is Breath of the Wild, because while that world is so gigantic, there's just so much stuff to do.
Okay, so
this fun, like finding new weapons, more Koroks to upgrade your gear. Oh wait, not your gear. Your gear spaces, and finding those shrines with all the different puzzles in it to upgrade your health and stamina.
Yeah, I don't want to go too long on.
Like most open worlds lack.
Yeah,
like a good amount of stuff in the world, because most of the time it feels like the open world is just like a giant desert with nothing in it to do.
I don't want to go too long on this. This is probably the subject for its own video, but I do like really quick want to talk about like Breath of the Wild is so good, and it kind of I had an epiphany the other day about it. That I think it differentiates itself from every other open world game, because I was playing Horizon Zero Dawn the other day, right? And I was looking at the map, and there's just all these waypoints, and like, go over here for this collectible, go over here for this collectible. And in the map in Breath of the Wild, there's none of that. You have to find things on your own.
I think that's like that's like the extremes of both ends of the scale, though.
You actually have to pay, instead of clicking a waypoint and then just turning your character to the exact degree and then walking in a straight line to go there. In Breath of the Wild, you have to like pay attention to your surroundings.
Yeah,
and there's none of that clutter.
To the top of the tower and then look for cool stuff and then use that spyglass marker to mark the
Yeah,
cool stuff
you
that
look
find.
for things with your eyes, and then you see it, and you say, "I want to go there," and then you go there. And something like Horizon
correct me if I'm
or
wrong,
Horizon's
but the
pretty
only,
bad though. Like
objective markers in Breath of the Wild are the towers, and everything else you have to find on your own. Am
yeah,
I correct with
Yeah.
that?
it's way more
Mostly,
immersive
at
in that
least.
way. Okay, so anyway, sorry to go on a
I
tangent.
just have to
Back
say,
to
my
Hot
ideal of an open world game is Assassin's Creed 4. It's big enough, but it's not huge. There's enough to do in it. I've been playing Assassin's Creed 3 on Switch, and I'm like, this game is boring as fuck. There's nothing to do in it compared to like
I'm so
modern open
perplexed
world
as to why
games.
3 is the one on the Switch.
Yeah, I
Why-
don't know
Why
why.
3?
But
Nobody likes 3.
Compared to modern open world games, like even if we did get Assassin's Creed 2, I'm sure I haven't played it in a while, but I'm sure it does not have as much to do as modern games. And so like maybe we have too much to do in these games,
I
but like
think we do. I think there's too much to do.
but there's also like it's to me I'd rather have too much to do than not enough to do. Like I'm so bored with Assassin's Creed 3.
I disagree. I think it gets to the point where everything just becomes clutter, and it just becomes so overwhelming that it's like, oh well, I want to do everything, but I can't. Like for me, at
Yeah,
least.
yeah, it's like I got that completionist
Yeah,
about me.
I'm a completionist like that.
But I can shut it down and just like play what I want to play.
Yeah, that's
if I
why Breath
want.
of the Wild.
Not
3
to
is
mention
so
a lot of the times the collectibles don't have any real tangible value. They're
Yeah.
just
Yeah, I'm
cute
not a
little pictures to look.
I'm not a
Like,
fan of
in
collectibles in
Horizon
any
Zero
game.
Dawn, I do love how all the collectibles are just like random bits of junk from today, like a broken coffee mug or
Yeah, that's cool.
one of those Hawaiian luau things you put on top of your truck, and everything was like, what is the purpose of this? Was this like a god? Was this like the piece of a ritual relic?
I do like that.
kind of stuff was pretty fun, but
Okay.
it's Breath of the Wild, like the collectible things you find had tangible stuff, like the Korok seeds would upgrade your inventory. Shrines would give you stuff for health and stamina. Anyways,
Okay, so
Sorry about
speaking
that.
about open worlds, let's move on to Bethesda.
Okay, Bethesda. I think this is.
Bethesda.
I think this is probably the
ESO
most
and some card
disappointing-
game.
Yeah, this is an incredibly disappointing. They honestly should not have even had a
I don't think
conference.
so either.
They did not have enough to show at all. They showed a couple of interesting new games that we got no gameplay for. Honestly, for me, they could have just shown Doom Eternal for 40 minutes, and that would have been the best
Yeah,
conference.
Doom
out of all.
Eternal was the only highlight of that con.
I have to disagree. I like Doom, but to me, it's just all of the same thing.
All right, well, that's your opinion. My opinion is that Doom Eternal is going to be the best first-person shooter ever made.
See, that's very extreme to me. What I liked about Bethesda's conference is because one thing I knew we were not going to get very much of was surprises at the C3,
Yeah.
and Arcane surprised me.
Are you talking about Deathloop?
Yeah, or
Okay,
something like
looks
that.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's called Deathloop. It looks amazing, but no gameplay, so I can't really talk about it too much.
I'm still okay with I think, and we'll get to Avengers later, but I think we can use our brains in what they showed and kind of guess where gameplay is going to go, what kind of game it's going to be. I loved Prey. That's one of my favorite games ever.
Dude,
Prey was.
And I
Prey
love
was-
I love Dishonored 1. Dishonored 2 is okay to me, but I loved the first Dishonored game.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that Arcane was there and they showed us something that we didn't know was already being worked
Yeah,
on.
that's good. Yeah, the game looks really cool. I love the 70s aesthetic is really solid. They did a really good job with the art direction in Prey. Yeah, I'm just really excited for it.
Yeah.
This is probably the most excited I am for a game this E3 that didn't have gameplay.
Right, exactly.
Just because I trust Arcane to make a good game.
Yeah.
They haven't really failed in the past. So.
I agree.
Also, another one of the new games they showed was Ghostwire Tokyo, which looks interesting.
It's like a murder mystery,
Yeah.
right? You're like a detective.
I know it's a meme, but I don't think I would have been so interested in Ghostwire if it wasn't for that one woman who was just so happy and so enthusiastic about her game that I'm
Yeah,
just like, you know what? just for you, because you're so pleasant, I think I might try it out one day.
She's so wholesome. Let's give it a try.
I forget her name, but I believe she's also the art director of both Okami and Bayonetta, and Bayonetta is one of my favorite games ever. So I'm very excited for Ghostwire Tokyo, but again, no gameplay, so
yeah, there was a lot of no gameplay.
there's not a whole lot to talk about.
Ikumi Nakamura, that's the one.
Yeah, Nakamura.
Do you guys have anything else to say about Bethesda?
I do. I'm really angry at this. I'm sure you guys are aware of the Commander Keen mobile game. So Commander Keen is an old point-and-click adventure series. It's been 20 years since there's a new game.
Oh, wow.
Since there's been a new game, right? So they show this really cute trailer. It's like Commander Keen. It's like, yeah, Commander Keen, and then it's a fucking free-to-play mobile game, and it doesn't even look good. Like, if you saw the gameplay of it, it looks like one of the worst mobile games I've ever seen. The last thing I want to say about Bethesda, Fallout 76.
I like what
they showed some interesting stuff, but it was just really damage control-y. And it was really obvious. Like, yeah, they're on serious damage control with Fallout 76.
As long as there's some heart in that damage control,
dude,
I think it'll be okay. Like, if they actually make the game better,
they're gonna have to work really hard because the game is near unplayable.
Still, I
still all the ill will from the fan base. But hey, No Man's Sky turned around, and from what I hear,
that's true.
Sea of Thieves is coming around. So
yeah.
It's just I wish they would release these games like not unfinished.
Yeah, but the thing I wanted to say about Bethesda is, I mean, I know it's kind of a meme and you can't exactly prove it, but everyone's saying that people in the audience were paid off to cheer at Bethesda stuff.
I feel like it was really obvious. It was even making the presenters a little uncomfortable.
I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt, but there are just some things that I feel like people should not be cheering that hard for. Unless they're being paid for
like
it.
the ESO stuff or like their card game.
Yeah,
it's like
ESO stuff.
I know a lot of people play that, but like, is it really like just a new
not.
Random expansion is really that exciting?
It can't be that lit.
It can't be that exciting for. Yeah. Like what? Like either people were paid off or they were giving out free alcohol.
The fact that it is finally adding dragons, to me, that is something to cheer for because, I mean, as kind of predictable as it is now, when Skyrim first came out, the dragon fights were amazing.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like an MMO.
It felt incredible to fight those dragons.
I picked up ESO once on sale, and I took it to GameStop not long afterwards.
Yeah, MMOs just aren't my thing. I mean, I know a lot of people that I work with play ESO, so I mean, I'm not going to knock it. Obviously, it's a good game, but it's not for me.
But anyways, that was my
I feel like we should skip. There were quite a few conferences, but I feel like we should skip to Ubisoft because that's the next major one.
Yeah.
I could talk about Devolver for a little bit. Their conference was insane, and everyone at that company is on crack. But we should probably. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, it was amazing.
I don't know anything
but we
about
should probably
Devolvers.
skip to Ubisoft.
Okay.
I was honest. Starting out, I was going to completely write off Ubisoft for just nothing. Not because I think they're a bad company. I mean, they used to be, but from what I've heard, they've gotten better. It's just that the games that they made, the Tom Clancy series, Rainbow Six, Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs, they don't particularly interest me.
So
I'm incredibly surprised by how into it I got with Watch Dogs Legion.
Well, I loved the first Watch Dogs. I didn't like the second one that much. And Legion is extremely intriguing. Like, the whole, like, there's not an NPC in the game, pretty much. Like, everyone is a playable character.
The gimmick that you can play as every NPC is so interesting. I honestly have no idea how they're going to get it to work.
Racing with possibilities. Because I remember, I keep bringing up Skyrim, but when Skyrim came out, around like the lunch table at school, I would tell to all my friends about like our experiences with it, like finding all these random things, like how I, having no idea, just found the Clavicus Wild Dog just completely out of nowhere, and that surprised me. So, like, Legion is just making my mind race with all these similar, like, lunch yard, schoolyard table stories about, like, just talking about how this one guy that you find, and you find out about his story, and he becomes, like, the guy you get attached to the most, and you're doing all these awesome things with it, and you're trying so hard to keep him alive because he's your favorite, and everybody's just swapping stories about their favorite guy and all sorts of cool stuff they did and how heartbroken you or they got when they died and how impossible. Like,
it's a really interesting idea,
story.
But like they have to execute.
My main theory, like, I hope they don't do this, but because in like the trailer they showed off like a bunch of. There was the granny who was a retired assassin. There was that black girl who was a hacker. There were a few others. My theory is that those guys are going to be some of the ones that can't die, if that makes sense. Like, if you're playing as them and they die, it's game over and you have to restart from an earlier checkpoint. And the NPCs that you can recruit are just window dressing, like recruitments for something else.
I don't think that's how they're going to play it. I think everyone can die. And
I'm willing to believe them that that's what's going to be the case, but what I just described to me is like the worst case scenario.
Okay. So, I was kind of hoping for an Assassin's Creed reveal.
I'm very surprised by how into Watch Dogs Legions I am. Yeah. I'm really excited for that one.
I just don't like the masks. I don't like the little masks on the characters. I think that's weird. Like, one dude has like a skull that has a hat on it. It's got a cigar sticking out. Like,
I didn't even see that.
You didn't notice that? Okay,
no,
so whenever they go like, oh, I'm going like full hacker, like I'm a watchdog, they like put this mask on, and it's just a random ass like Party City mask, like.
Right.
Like when the Cockney guy at the beginning of the trailer started going in to try and help up with that one guy, he put on the mask and started attacking people.
Yeah, and it's like there's cameras everywhere. The camera probably caught him putting that mask on, like right at the scene of the crime. Like, okay, but moving on. I was really hoping for an AC reveal, but I understand it's okay that we didn't get one. But they gave us something else that we weren't expecting, and that was Gods and Monsters.
Yeah, another game that I'm cautiously optimistic for that had no.
Let's call it a Zelda,
Zelda adjacent
reveal of anything whatsoever.
A Breath of the Wild Vania, if you will.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. I think they in an interview.
I'm intrigued by the idea of Gods and Monsters. I have no idea what it is, but I'm intrigued.
I heard that gameplay, like, I read stories of people like getting hands-on and they really enjoyed it.
Oh, I didn't know people got to play this.
Maybe like one person that I read behind closed doors, like, but someone got to play something that I read of this game and they said they liked it.
So Ubisoft, I think in an interview said that this is the most open world game they've ever made.
Okay,
which is weird because they pretty much only make open world games.
Mostly.
Yeah. And they also said that there's going to be a narrator, like Homer, like of Homer's Odyssey is going to narrate like what you do, and that reminds me of Bastion, which I really like. So
a lot of people were saying.
For a second, I thought you said there was going to be like. For a second, I thought you said that Homer was going to narrate it.
Yeah,
like
Homer Simpson is going to narrate it.
Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
Well, as you can see, this man, after a tumultuous battle amongst the individual. Anyway,
yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that.
Okay, also, I think it's cool that Ubisoft is still supporting Rainbow Six, although I don't play it. Yeah. I think it's cool that they are still, like, full in on that game. One thing I have to say about Ubisoft's conference is I was overwhelmed by military shit.
I agree. Dude, like, I was literally just about to say, like, for most of this conference, I was just mentally, like, checked out. I'm like Tom Clancy, look at this. Okay, so I'm looking at this right now. Here's some of the announcements, all right? Tom Clancy's The Division 2, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Quarantine, Tom Clancy's Elite Squad, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege Operation Phantom Sight. Just all these shooters, like...
And it's all like...
Watch Dogs Legion is another kind of shootery, like, third-person type. It's like...
Well, okay,
so
Ghost
much.
Recon Wildlands and Tom Clancy's Division had no business being in the same conference because, like, I checked out for both of them.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like... This is too much. This is military sim overload. Like, I have Call of Duty. That's what I'm going to play for my military sim, especially this year. I don't need Ubisoft to make that for me.
The Division was such a disappointment for me because, like, it looked so cool when it first came out, and then it turned out to be really boring.
I liked John Bernthal at the conference.
Yeah, I like John Bernthal in general, but
Because
I just don't care about this game that he's in,
No,
unfortunately.
I don't either. I don't care. I don't even know which game. I don't know if it's Ghost Recon or if it's Tom Clancy's
I think it was
Division
Ghost
rollout.
Recon.
But
Ubisoft of game development makes me think of DreamWorks because they are so dead set of having their celebrities. Because, like, they have John Birkenau.
Bernthal.
Like, yeah, Bernthal. She wasn't there this year, but I do know that Aisha Tyler has hosted a lot of E3 Ubisoft conference, and there was that one guy. Yeah, there was that one guy promoting the TV show, the guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh
yeah,
I forgot
That
about
was
that. That was
weird.
that was a little strange.
I was
don't-
like, what does this have to do with Ubisoft?
yeah, I did. I don't know. It's weird.
I mean, to be fair, it is Electronic Entertainment Expo.
True.
As far as I'm aware, that doesn't exclusively mean video games. But,
I guess.
yeah, that was really weird.
Yeah. Honestly, I think the best thing I can say about Ubisoft's conference is that it wasn't embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like their previous conferences. But yeah, really, this was just kind of lukewarm for me. This one.
Moving on to Square Enix. I know Final Fantasy VII was there, but I don't play that.
You probably should because it's going to be amazing.
I'm really.
I've never played Final Fantasy, and
Dude, it's like an action
Neither
game.
have I.
man.
no, it's not. It's a driving sim.
What? No, we're talking about Final Fantasy VII remake.
Okay, I don't know the difference between all of them because they use like Roman numerals too. So I'm like,
You
I don't know
can't read
which
Roman
one.
numerals?
I don't know which one I played, but I didn't like it.
Well, which one did you? Oh, you played probably the new one. I don't know. I don't play Final
16,
Fantasy.
15.
I played Final Fantasy VII, and that's the only Final Fantasy game I've ever played. So
Yeah,
I'm excited for.
Either.
I'm excited for 7 though.
So it's an action game like
Yeah, I'm
Devil
really
May Cry
excited for
or
it, too.
like Bayonetta.
Not really. You should just check out some gameplay of it because it looks solid.
Okay.
The graphics look really good and everything, and it's just a big deal because Final Fantasy VII is one of the most popular games like ever.
Yeah,
made.
Final Fantasy VII is like a game changer amongst games. Like
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII, Super Mario 64, the original Super Mario, Ocarina
it's like
of
up
Time.
there, yeah.
Like those are some of the game changing games.
Okay. So keep that on your radar. I know a lot of people are skeptical about this one, but I am super excited for the Avengers game.
I saw no gameplay,
Yeah.
so I can't comment.
It doesn't have Hawkeye, so I don't care about it.
I have to.
That's honestly
I can't comment. I mean, it looks. I think it looks like promising. I mean, like a big budget like Avengers game has a lot of potential. I mean, look at
does look
Spider-Man.
really cool.
The trailer
I
did
just want to play as
show.
Hawkeye.
The
he's,
trailer-
he's my favorite
Well,
Avenger.
well, here's the thing. If you were being for real, they will probably add Hawkeye.
Yeah,
because
they're
they
doing
said,
DLC,
yeah, and like that is a game where I'm totally okay with that. Like, yes, there is a huge roster of people that have been on the Avengers team. If you have to pay for extra characters, like, I mean, if they do it well, I will be okay with like unlocking gear for those superheroes, unlocking their alternate suits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But also, I
to
have
me,
to say,
it just feels kind of weird to exclude Hawkeye because.
Well,
like,
they're gonna.
amongst
They're
this
most
generation,
definitely
he
gonna
is
have
one
Hawkeye
of
in
the
DLC.
founding Avengers.
Yeah.
Like he's one of the 6 that everybody thinks of when they hear the name the Avenger.
they may.
I mean, it's just a minor nitpick, but
I mean, I would have liked Hawkeye also, but if they had to do Hawkeye or Black Widow, I think they should do Black Widow
Yeah.
because they need there's not a single person of color in that lineup. They got to have at least a woman. Like, I mean,
you're right.
honestly, like, I mean,
Yeah, we gotta fill out that minority quota.
I mean, that's not a bad thing.
No, it definitely
like,
isn't.
I mean, a
Yeah,
lot of people in the gaming
I'm
community talk about it like it
fine
is,
with
but I think like it's
It's
very
diversity
necessary
quota,
to see
that's why.
like minorities and people of color and women like represented in all media,
Yeah,
especially
I'm fine with
games.
That too. I'm just making a joke.
Okay, so one thing about the Avengers, I already said there's no gameplay, but I don't even really know like what kind of game this is. Like, really?
The trailer did show like parts of it changed the camera angle to where it obviously
Yeah.
was emulating gameplay.
It was emulating gameplay, but it almost felt like they were afraid to show too much of like what the game was actually going to be like.
I mean, can you blame them? Like, we are the most unforgiving community of like
Yeah.
fans that are out there. Like, that's why people don't show gameplay, because like
I don't think that's a good reason to not show gameplay. People should know like what they're like pre-ordering. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
it's
I mean-
not giving,
it's like
an
just-
excuse. He's just stating a fact.
But I mean,
also-
everything I saw like in that trailer that they showed was good. Like the voice actors, like they got top like voice
Yeah.
talent.
Yeah,
I know a lot of
top
people
tier.
are talking about like the bootleg quote the bootleg Avengers.
I think that's
because they don't
bullshit.
have the rights to the likenesses for the actors from the MCU.
and I don't think they want to
But
look
still,
like
they
the
do
MCU.
look kind of
I
weird
don't think they do either.
compared
Well,
to
they
like
kinda
the
do. I don't know.
movies and how they usually look in comics and other media.
I don't know if I'm just like, okay, I know that I'm just a huge comics nerd, and Marvel is most of what I read. Marvel plus Batman, pretty much, is what I read, and just like, I know that the game is not going to go wrong. Like you said, you should know what you're going to pre-order, but at the same time, like, you pretty much have to be an adult to make a pre-order,
Yeah.
and like at least be able to think on your own. Like, I'm going to go pre-order this, so it's your fault if
Oh,
you
yeah,
pre-order
100%,
something that
100%.
like. But I mean, I don't have any like. I know we'll see gameplay, and I would be very surprised if I was disappointed in that game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely like I'm a huge Avengers fan. I'm definitely interested in this. I just really want to know like what the game is like, and I don't know what the
Yeah.
game is like other than it's a game with the Avengers in it. That's all I know.
I think Gamescom will give us a gameplay.
Oh,
I hope so.
definitely
If
like
they
a
don't
high
give
place
gameplay at
Gamescom.
Gamescom, like what are they even doing?
Yeah, I
this
mean,
game
like,
is coming out next year.
2-part reveal. I think that's smart. Like,
Yeah.
show a cinematic trailer, and Gamescom is what, in like August or July. So like,
Yeah. July or August.
I think they're maybe playing it a little safe with that like reveal strategy, but I don't think they're doing it wrong, in my opinion.
Honestly, like as far as things I'm interested in, that's pretty much it for Square Enix. Oh, they showed a Final Fantasy VIII
There's
remake.
one more thing I do want to talk about with Square Enix.
Yeah.
Elden Ring, the new.
I don't know
software.
anything about
they
that.
they talked about Elden Ring at the Microsoft conference, but yeah, Elden Ring is a game by Miyazaki and From Software, the Dark Souls, Bloodborne guys, and George R. R. Martin is writing the story.
Oh, I do know of that.
Yeah.
I just have no interest because I hate the Dark Souls and
I mean, seeing the fact that it was written by George R. R. Martin, it was like, no wonder Winds of Winter is not here. He keeps spending time making all these other games and
Yeah.
stupid books.
but guess what? Like,
I mean, I really like his other books.
he probably
This looks
created-
interesting, but
he probably wrote a great story and created a great world for this, but you're never gonna get to experience all of it because you can't beat the fucking game. Like,
Well, you just need like okay, this is like a whole different conversation. The difficulty of those games. So maybe we should just leave it at that.
yeah. I'm kind of gonna pass it over to you guys for Nintendo because I did
Yeah.
not watch that.
I'm so disappointed in you that you didn't watch Nintendo because you have a Switch and you didn't even watch the conference. I'm so disappointed.
Dude, because I got my Switch so I could play third-party games on the go.
Well, you're a maniac. You're a maniac because Nintendo has the best first-party games of any.
Ooh, Mario Maker 2.
Dude, what are you talking about? Hey, don't get the f out of here, all right?
Yeah,
man?
just
all right,
joking.
just get out of here. Let the cool
Let
guys
the-
talk
let the
about.
kids talk.
Yeah, let's let the actual little baby infants who play Nintendo games talk about it.
Yeah, no, okay.
Okay.
No,
So-
just purely joking. Like, I am not a Nintendo gamer, but they make amazing games, and people love them because they're wholesome and they're cute And so whatever. Yeah,
They don't have blood and violence, so big boy Riley doesn't want to play him.
I mean, if that's how it breaks down, I guess. Yeah.
All right, at least you're honest about it.
Like,
yeah, I think Doom and Wolfenstein are the only M games that I've seen on the Switch so far.
Mortal Kombat 11.
Did you know that The Witcher 3 is coming to Switch?
Yes, that's cool. See, that's why I got the Switch. It's for things like that.
It's a miracle that they even got it to run.
Dude, they have to do a really good port, I think, because like AC3 should not have any trouble running on the Switch, but it does, and that just means it's a bad port because.
Hey, dude, listen. Panic Button is helming the port for Witcher 3, and Panic Button are porting gods. They could probably get Crysis to run on a potato battery.
Okay, cool.
It's going to be a good port.
Pretty noteworthy to see the graphical downport with The Witcher 3.
So I'm just gonna come right out and say it that if I wasn't a huge Nintendo fan, this conference would be super disappointing to me. But I love Nintendo, and literally all they need to do is announce a Smash Brothers character, and it's my favorite conference, which is a little sad, but. Okay, so let's run down. The first thing they announce is the Dragon Quest Pro Tag.
Yeah.
In Smash.
Well, one of four.
One of four, yeah.
I've never played Dragon Quest.
I haven't either, but I watched some of the Nintendo Treehouse gameplay of Dragon Quest XI S on the Switch, and it looks legit, and I think I'm going to play it. Also, I kind of gave myself a challenge the day before this Direct, and I said, whatever character gets announced for Smash, I'm going to play the game that they're in. So
Banjo-Kazooie.
Joke's on me. Well, yeah, I need to play Banjo-Kazooie, which I've played the first one, but I haven't played the second one. But yeah, Dragon Quest is like a 500-hour game, so rest in peace.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Also, something interesting that I realized a while ago: the leaker was technically wrong in some regard because before this,
there were
was
quite a
guy
few
who
leaks.
leaked the next four fighters, which were. I think his name is Erdrick Shadow. I don't remember his name.
Well, Erdrick is the character from Dragon Quest like 1 through 3, I think, like the original.
Yeah.
And then the rest of them don't
Dragon
have
Quest.
like canon names.
So they said that. They also said Minecraft Steve, Ryu Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden, and someone else.
Dude, I wanted to see Master Chief. Master Chief in Smash.
Dude, could still happen. Anything can happen.
Dude, yeah. Like,
based off of what happened this year with Smash, literally there's no restrictions. Any character could be, as long as the character is from a video game, they could be.
Banjo Kazooie comes over. Now it really does feel like it could be anyone except for Goku and SpongeBob.
I predict that Rare Replay will come to Switch.
I would love that. I can't believe if it was going to happen.
Coming to Switch. I'm fairly certain. And we're getting the new Battletoads.
Yeah, but not on Switch.
I don't think that's coming to Switch.
Yeah,
but
it's
still.
Xbox. Which is like with how closely Nintendo and Microsoft have been working, I'm really surprised that they didn't announce more partnership stuff.
I wanted to see one, like Phil Spencer or whoever's ahead of Nintendo. I wanted to see one or the other on the stage of the others.
Yeah, me too.
That would have been nuts.
I mean, and with Banjo and Smash, like obviously they had to have. They said in an interview that it was a really easy deal to make because they want, like Microsoft, they wanted Banjo and Smash. They're like, I think that would be a fun idea. But I wanted them to go a step further and announce Banjo or Rare Replay on the Switch. Because I really want to play that game, and I don't want to have to go out and buy an N64 or an Xbox in order to play Banjo-Kazooie.
It should be on a Nintendo console.
It should be. Listen, Banjo-Kazooie belongs on Nintendo. They just belong there.
Yeah, exactly.
They just belong there. That's.
And the Outer Worlds is being developed by a studio that Microsoft owns now. Am I correct? And
I believe so.
And it's coming because it was in development already.
Yeah.
It's coming. It's going to Xbox and PlayStation consoles. So like I think partnerships are going to start happening more and more, and I'm ready for it. I like.
Yeah, me too.
My least favorite thing about the gaming community is like not the console wars, like just as the consoles like trying to be better than the other, like that's good. But like when it comes to just like talking in forums, like I hate that. Like that's so stupid. Why do you want to do that? Like, oh, PlayStation's better. Blah, blah, blah. Like, I mean, who cares? Like,
I feel like we're getting closer and closer to like a convergence, like where you can just play any game wherever you want.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still far away.
To that fabled black box something or other.
it's like those retro consoles that combine like other consoles.
Yeah, like
we're gonna have one of those, but for
Well, I think in the
gen.
future everything's just going to be a streaming service, and you can subscribe to like Nintendo's streaming service or Microsoft or Sony's,
and
or
play it
you
on
can-
whatever
or you
console
can
you
get a pack,
have.
and then you can just play it on whatever device you have,
Yeah.
whatever, and it'll just be running off of the servers of whatever company is providing the games.
So the one that I was looking forward to the most was a release date of Daemon X Machina. I don't really hear a lot of people talking about that game, but I am super excited for it.
Yeah, you know, I played the demo. I played the demo of it.
There's a demo on Switch?
It didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't grab me. But it did. It does look like a really fun game, honestly.
I want a good mech game
I'm
on my
mostly in
Switch.
for the concept
Yeah, well,
of
there you go. Get the demo and try it
customizing
out.
your
Yeah.
own giant robot.
Yeah, that's
But
what
I mean, it's
want.
a Nintendo first-party game, so I don't know if. You'll like
Hey
it.
man, I try. I liked Breath of the Wild. Okay.
Oh well, if you like Breath of the Wild, okay. So let's just skip. Did you hear about the
Oh.
Breath of the Wild sequel?
I forgot about that. Yeah, I was like, what else do we have to talk about? I'm
Like-
excited for Breath of the Wild.
Dude,
too.
hell yes, it's gonna be amazing.
I
I lost, like, when I figured out that it was Breath of the Wild, I lost my mind.
of course you Nintendo nerds did. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, listen,
Hey.
multiple Game of the Year awards, and we get a sequel to that game. I mean, that's
Okay.
exciting no matter
Like,
who you
the
are.
From-
fact that it's an actual in time sequel to
Right.
a game.
Yeah,
to
that
a
hasn't
Zelda
happened
game.
since like what Majora's Mask. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
that
I
hasn't.
think unless he counts like the handhelds and the like. But the last time something that major happened was, I think, Majora's Mask.
Yeah.
Okay, so have y'all played Dishonored 2?
No.
Unfortunately, no.
Okay, so when you start it, you can play as either Emily or Corvo.
Yeah.
And the way it starts is this bitch pulls up
yeah.
and starts popping off, and it's like, who do you want to play as? And then you just pick one. I think something similar is going to happen with Breath of the Wild 2. From what I saw, Zelda looked like she was wearing like the exact same outfit as Link.
Yeah, she
and
had
I'm
like the exact same cape that Link had on, or a similar design cape to the one Link had on.
So I think that it's gonna be Breath of the Wild, and in a new, hopefully slightly different looking location, and you can play
I'm
as
holding
Zelda.
on
I
to
bet.
hope that it. I'm holding on to my expectations so I don't get disappointed if you don't play as Zelda. But I am hoping for that so much. Because I remember in the Wii U, the first time we ever saw, the first time they ever showed that trailer for Breath of the Wild, we didn't know it was called that at the time. And at the time, we thought the Switch was called the NX. But I remember during that time, a lot of people, when Link took off his hood and was fighting that Guardian, I remember a lot of people thought that this Link was a girl.
Yeah.
And Nintendo actually said something about that, and they're like, no, this Link is not a girl. But we do admit that the idea of that has sparked a lot of discussion and intrigue amongst staff and internal members. So that might be something we do in the future.
Yeah.
So
honestly,
that leads me to hope that maybe, just maybe, we get to play as Zelda.
I do not think it's
And
going to
I
happen.
really hope we get to.
But I
Because that
am.
would be incredible.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to being pleasantly surprised because I would love that.
Speaking of pleasantly surprised, Astral Chain really surprised me.
What is
Dude,
that?
all right,
I've heard a lot of people
It's,
talk
a
about that.
it's a new game by Platinum.
So it's an action game by Platinum, who
Yeah, the
developed
guys made
Bayonetta, Metal Gear Rising,
Rising
Revengeance.
Revengeance.
Wonderful 101, I guess.
Oh yeah, they did make that one.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I love Platinum. They're one of my favorite developers. They do action games, I think, better than any other studio. Astral Chain looks incredible, and it comes out in 2 months. I mean, I don't really have anything else to say. It's like a day one for me, and it looks amazing. And
I have
Switch?
no idea what the
Switch,
game's
exclusive.
about, but considering the prestige of Platinum,
Yeah,
really excited by that.
yeah, it looks awesome.
Okay, so do you have more about Nintendo to say?
Yeah, I do actually. There's a shit ton of stuff
Okay.
about Nintendo, but
There is
I'll
one-
just go through it real quick. One of the big surprises for a lot of people, not necessarily for me, was Trials of Mana. This is a remake
Oh,
of a
yeah,
game
that
that people
looked
have
really
been. Okay, so Seiken Densetsu 3 is the sequel to Secret of Mana, which is a huge RPG franchise, and it never came out in the West ever. And people have, it's like Mother 3, like for some people. And so not only are we getting a full
Could you imagine like the waves that would happen if Doug Bowser and now if finally now that Reggie's gone, Doug Bowser like the first thing
yeah, like
he
Reggie
announced
was the
before
only
Mother
thing
3.
keeping Mother 3 back from the world. All right,
That
so
would have been incredible, and everybody would have loved Bowser much more than Reggie.
yeah, Trials of Mana, full remake of that game that was never released. Pretty cool for RPG fans. Let's see, Cadence of Hyrule, I played, it was amazing. Luigi's Mansion 3 looks very, very good. Julius is currently dying.
No, you're fine. It's just I had to plug in my.
Fire Emblem Three Houses, I'm not interested in at all.
I actually am interested in that one because I like Fire Emblem.
I
I
also
am
like Fire Emblem,
intrigued.
but this game is not grabbing me at all.
Yeah, I was
Uh,
kind of off put by the graphics because they seem really, or at least the cutscenes, because they seemed really wonky.
Panzer Dragoon remake is really cool.
Oh yeah, that was interesting.
And finally, the last thing I want to talk about is Animal Crossing got delayed, which is sad, but they're doing it because they want to make sure that their employees don't die because of crunch, which is
I
very
applaud.
very much respect to Nintendo for that.
Yes.
I think the game looks really
I think
good.
That's the simple reason I heard why they switched development for Metroid Prime, because they wanted it to be as best as possible. They didn't think the current thing would
Yeah.
provide them the
Okay.
best possible. So, as bummed as I am, we have to wait much longer. I
Yeah,
do respect
while we're talking
the-
about Nintendo and, I mean, recent news, which E3 is most of the recent news, but Metroid Prime 4, they just put out a listing for art direction.
director.
Like,
Yeah,
oh my god, that game is going to
Oh,
be like
is
3
that-
years
Yeah,
out.
man,
Like,
I mean, listen, Retro, I trust them to do a good job
Yeah.
because I love Retro. They made the best platformer ever made, which is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. So anything they make, I am there 100%.
But I've heard really good things.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's just like, in my opinion, it's the best platformer ever.
so Metroid Prime 4 is going to be a launch title on the Switch XL.
Yeah,
Or something
most
like
likely.
that.
Yeah, it's still definitely a couple years off at least.
So,
But hey, if they're trying to make, I mean, it's just like Miyamoto said, a rush game or a delayed game may be good. A rush game is bad forever.
Yeah.
so okay, that's pretty much E3. Let's do a little
But
recap.
Actually,
Okay,
if
what's
I
up?
may, there are two more games that I want to talk about.
Okay.
Monster Hunter World Iceborne
Oh,
and
yeah.
Destroy All Humans.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I love Monster Hunter World. I haven't played it in a long time.
I adore that game.
Yeah.
I fell out of it because my save got wiped somehow,
That sucks.
and that was kind of discouraging. And I've recently tried to get back into it in preparation for Iceborne.
Yeah.
And it's just as good as I remember. I love that game. It is so much fun.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting back into it, to be honest. Yeah.
So, let's wrap up with. Let's go through the release
the
date.
last-
Okay,
oh,
what's
I'm
up?
sorry. And the last one I want to talk about, a complete from the ground up remake of Destroy All Humans.
Does it have a release date, Julius?
Not that I could find.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's either in late 2019 or at some point in early mid 2020.
Okay, So what does have a release date is all these games that I'm about to list as we close out this podcast.
Oh shit, nice.
So Star Wars Fallen Order is hitting in November, like 11th or something like that. I don't have it written down. Outer Worlds is coming October 25th. So those are pretty much the two biggest games of 2019.
For you.
For me. Gears 5 is also coming September 10. That's great. Cyberpunk 2077.
We didn't even talk about Gears 5.
That's okay.
That's okay. There's not a lot to talk about in Gears.
We know what Gears is. Cyberpunk 2077 coming April 16th, 2020. Lego Star Wars 2020. Way to the Woods 2020. Dying Light 2. Also great. We didn't talk about it, but that's super cool. It's coming in 2020. The Scarlet sometime in 2020. And Halo Infinite is a launch title on Scarlet. Watch Dogs is 2020 sometime. Gods and Monsters is 2020. Avengers is 2020. Are there any games that you guys would like to mention the release dates of?
I don't have any written down, so that's going to be a no from me, dog.
I do. One moment, please.
Okay.
Okay. Daemon X Machina is September 13th, 2020. Wait, 2019.
Yeah.
I think.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's either... I'll have to check that in a bit. Monster Hunter World Iceborne is September 6th, 2019. That's pretty much it. You've already named all the stuff that I talked about at my list.
Cool. Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. This has been Red Talks E3 podcast, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Yeah, see ya.
Peace.